Hi, welcome back to my channel. My name is Peace. Today's video is all about starting a product business in 2022 and all the things you need to consider, because let's be honest, so much has changed over the years. Everything from shipping to advertising to just the general market. I'm going to get into the things now, having my business for coming up to 2 years, that I would like to know if I was just coming into having a product business in 2022. So the first thing I'm going to speak about is just the general saturation. If you want to start a business, you're probably looking at whatever industry you're going into, like, oh, so many people are already selling this. I don't know if you want to start a clothing boutique, if you want to sell like interior design stuff, if you want to sell eyelashes, whatever it is. The facts are there's like a 99% chance that a lot of people are selling it. So in 2022, more than ever, even though it's always been important, but this year especially, and probably moving forward, branding is so important. And when I say branding, the biggest mistake you can make is thinking branding is just the logo, the colors, the font, anything visual. Branding is so much more than that. In fact, the most important aspect of branding is what's your brand promise, what's your USP, what's your brand vision, your purpose, like your mission statement, your story. All of that stuff is the core of branding. It's like the feeling that you want people to have when they think of you. You want to be able to have multiple people describe your brand and they're all using the same kind of words. They're all having the same type of feelings evoked when they shop with you. That's the side of branding that you want to bring out. I've done a video about how to find your USP and how to stand out in a saturated market. So I will link those because they go into a lot more detail on how to do this. This year especially if you want to make it something that's more than a side hustle, you can't be selling like a copy and paste product with like copy and paste packaging. No, you have to differentiate, you have to stand out, you have to find your niche and find your unique promise that you can offer to your target customers. The second tip I'm going to go into is Facebook ads. So if you use Facebook ads, or if you're someone who was planning to rely solely on Facebook ads, then you probably know that Facebook ads aren't as lucrative or as easy to make profitable as they used to be once upon a time. But on the other hand, this year, so that's one thing to keep in mind for 2022. But on the other hand, this year, if you're someone who doesn't use advertising, I would say this year more than ever, following on from my first point with the saturation, this year more than ever, you're probably going to need to start dabbling into advertising because so many people are using organic methods. The algorithms are always changing. People don't see your content. The key to having a profitable marketing system is to have it systemized, scalable, and predictable. And it's really hard to systemize, scale, or predict the way organic methods are going to perform. So again, paid advertising is not something to shy away from, but keep in mind the up and downness of Facebook ads. And to get over those, take the time to learn Facebook ads. Again, I've done a video a bit about the things to consider and what I wish I'd known. Because yeah, iOS 14 has changed things, but people, including me, has still found them to be profitable. So there is 100% ways around it, but it's about learning those, implementing and mastering how to use those. You also want to make sure that you're diversifying your channels, so not just relying on Facebook ads, because yeah, Facebook ads have gone scatter, but you have TikTok ads, which I need to test. You have YouTube ads, which again I'm also going to test. There's just so many other channels, even Google ads, which I've also really found to be profitable and really, really beneficial for my business. Some brands will like ride for Facebook, but some brands like purely use Google. So again, it's testing and learning. Like, never forget the key to long-term business success is constant testing and learning, even when things are going well. If you know the amount of tests I have lined up this year, the amount of optimizations, the amount of things I'm going to try, just always be willing to test and learn, always be willing to optimize continuously, no matter how well you're doing. Side note, but optimizations don't even always have to be about making more money. You can be optimizing the customer experience, you can be optimizing like how fast the product gets to your customers, the aftercare instructions, the emails you send afterwards to help them use the product. There are so many, there are always ways to elevate. So that one's even more of a mindset tip, is the constant learning, the constant optimization in every area of your business. But yeah, to this point, diversify your advertising. And if you're not using advertising, I would say this is the year more than ever to take the time to learn and try it out. The third thing I'm going to talk about is profit margins. With everything I've just said, having to have strong branding, having to do more paid advertising, now more than ever, you need products that have a healthy profit margin. I know people like to ask, like, what's a good profit margin? Look at the rule of thumb for your industry, because it really will vary, and try to go a bit above that, because especially as a new business, you're going to probably have to spend a bit more to acquire a new customer. You're probably going to have to spend a bit more to just figure things out. Before you start like optimizing expenses and making things more profitable, there's going to be, again, a lot of testing and learning. Sometimes tests aren't cheap, tests aren't free, and they shouldn't be. Like, you should have that capital to be able to try out things, improve things, test and learn and fail and try again. This is why you see a lot of smaller businesses will position themselves as a premium brand, because we don't have that economies of scale that massive companies have, where they're able to buy things in bulk and get them for really low unit cost. You won't have that on your side when you're just starting out. So yeah, whether it's position yourself as a premium brand or just finding other ways to increase the value of your product, it could be like free samples, it could be faster shipping, a better customer experience, whether you have someone to assist them with their shopping experience, just whatever you can do to inject like a premium shopping experience into the product, that's going to help you have higher margins. The higher the product cost, oftentimes the lower margins that you can get away with having. Say for example, if you were selling a product for $200 or pounds, but it costs you $100 or pounds, you will have that 100 in between to ship the product, to brand it, to acquire a new customer. $100 is a lot more than, say the product was to cost you $5 and you would sell it for 10, and you only have a $5 window to now acquire a customer, to do this, to do that. It's going to be a lot harder to make all of that happen with $5 than it is $100. So again, the profit margin also depends on the value, the average value of your selling price. So as much as you want to think about higher margins, you also, as much as possible, but again, it's not always possible, and it doesn't mean lower price items can't still be a viable business, because they absolutely can. But as much as possible, you might want to start thinking about like higher value products, because there's just more wiggle room to make what you need to make happen. Businesses are expensive, okay? So businesses are expensive. There's no point coming into it and you can bootstrap, but there's no point trying to like cut corners, because that's when you'll just find inconsistent sales. That's when you'll find things aren't growing, things aren't moving, you just feel like you never have the capital to do what you want to do. So you might as well just make things easier for yourself and give yourself that wiggle room to do what you need to do. The fourth and final tip I want to talk about is shipping complications, and this one is no joke. This last year, since the pandemic, if you're based in Europe or the UK like I am, the implications of Brexit, shipping has just become it's not been the funnest. I'll say for me, shipping and inventory flow have been the biggest bottlenecks of the business, and the thing that I just have not enjoyed to sort out the most, but it's literally one of the most key processes of a product business. Like, you need to have a good shipping process. When it comes to the way a pandemic has affected shipping, that's often if your manufacturer is based overseas. No matter where the overseas is, that shipping has become more expensive. It probably become slower. What you can use to ship has probably changed. You just want to negotiate different ways of shipping with your supplier. I will leave a link to a video I did about negotiating with suppliers, because it goes into how you can start to try to bring down costs. Costs have significantly risen. Inflation has risen, so a lot of times the unit cost of raw materials have risen. Some manufacturers have passed that on to the people buying from them. So it's all just a big... Also, for someone whose business, or you're planning to have a business that ships internationally, this is where more complications came into store. Like, I'm really, again, that's just another area that's been tiring. Like, my business ships to a lot of different countries, but I would say primarily UK, US, and the EU countries, like Germany, Italy, France. Things have just been stressful. So I would say, when you're starting out, don't overwhelm yourself with trying to figure out how to get all these international shipping up and running. Just start in your country. That's honestly my advice. If you're starting this year, just start shipping. Just start by solely shipping off in your country, or any nearby countries that are really easy to get to. Anything that's overwhelming to figure out, just start small, start more locally, and then as things start to pick up, then you can start to expand and look about how to break into other global markets. Because again, when you're starting out, you sometimes can't get the best shipping rates, you sometimes can't get the best shipping services, whereas there are some companies that if you have like a certain minimum parcels that you're sending out a week, they're willing to give you better rates and faster shipping, all of that stuff. So it's mostly EU countries. I can't even lie, this last year, beyond Brexit, even France have just again announced this new like import VAT, and it's just like, rest, like guys, rest. It's a lot. So If you're shipping to certain countries where they have a lot of laws and import this and import that, stick locally, stick to the countries that are easy to ship to. If you do know a specialist in that area, then tell them to sit you down and let you know how it all works, and then you can decide whether it's worth it or not. But I'll just say, don't overwhelm yourself, because these shipping things are affecting everyone, and it's just part and parcel of the game. So go into it just being aware of that. So those are all my tips. These are definitely the things that I'm keeping an eye on this year for my business. And if I was someone who was just starting, these are 100% the things that I feel like would slap me in the face the most, knowing what I know now. So yeah, I really hope you use these tips. I really hope you find them useful. Please let me know in the comments if you have any questions or thoughts. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will see you again in the next video. Bye.